I think firing fast especially applies to management. Every day you keep a bad leader in your organization is another day that you're creating the wrong mindset across the entire team.
So my favorite thing about this firing fast is being able to fire myself.
How I own 26 companies without going crazy. Outsourcing. So the reason that I ended up owning 26 businesses wasn't because I was a genius. It was because I was bored with a capital B. So I started to study all the billionaires who own multiple businesses simultaneously. Musk, Bezos, Buffett, Munger, Zell, Cuban. And I was like, these guys aren't that crazy intelligent. They just have a better process. So I'm going to give you 3 things that helped me manage a bunch of businesses. The goal for you guys would be go out and create income streams in multiple different ways from multiple businesses. Okay. First, hiring is everything. All of the processes in the world won't fix bad talent. So when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Fire people fast. Second, give everybody on your team one number to focus on. For instance, in our media business, I say, Nikki, who's my COO there, I want you to focus on 300,000 newsletter subscribers. That's it. If you want to mention another number to me, I'm going to ignore you completely because that is your one thing. The third thing is what Amazon calls a one-page culture. It's how we operate. I want you to go out, tell all the people who are on our teams that they need to follow these rules. So those 3 things help me own 26 things.
So Codie Sanchez is a straight up baller.
Question.
Yes.
Did you have that on 1.5 times like play, or was she just talking that fast?
I think she's just talking that fast. Jeez. It's gracious. Wow.
You know what? Let's talk that fast this entire time. You know what, Codie Sanchez? Genius. Brilliant. 26 companies, one time. Love it. Let's do this. Come on, James. What do you got?
So I loved all 3 of her points. So she's big into unsexy businesses. And so Codie, a lot of her businesses are like laundry mats and stuff like that.
I've seen those, yeah.
So I love the style of her content. I love what she's talking about. I love the general ethos of what Codie's all about. The 3 things she talked on here I thought were really helpful. The first one, people,
you got to say it as fast as she says it.
Fire fast.
Fire fast.
Fire fast.
Okay, especially.
So I think firing fast especially applies to management.
Oh,
we've had some issues in the past in our business where we had managers that were not aligned with our leadership team, and we didn't realize how big of a chasm that was creating between our folks that are deeper in the organization and the resentment that gets created, the disconnectedness, the lack of alignment, all the things that happen when you don't have the right managers in those management seats.
Yep.
And so something will get communicated and we are communicating to the managers, but if the managers aren't really bought in on the vision or they don't really understand it, when they go and translate that to the rest of the organization, it ends up falling apart. So I think firing fast, especially with management, is huge. I think every day you keep a bad leader in your organization is another day that you're creating the wrong mindset across the entire team. And that wrong mindset can take months, if not years, to unwind.
I will also say, as an entrepreneur, right, you have a lot of hats. So my favorite thing about this firing fast is being able to fire myself out of jobs that I am just proficient enough in, right, to be able to bring in that quality management to be able to make it happen, right? Oh man, Corey, she's honed in on me, man. I'm in it. I'm on it. Let's go. Let's get it going. Fire yourself if you're an entrepreneur. There's nothing better than having a quality team that can handle things with quality. There's a say. This company, or this guy, he owned a series of hotel chains, and there's one chain that was doing so well. This one hotel was doing so well, and he started looking into it, saying, "What's going on? What's going well?" And they weren't doing any training, they weren't doing any huddles, they weren't doing. He's like, and so he got the manager. It's like, "Hey, what's going on here? Why aren't you doing all the trainings and stuff? What's going on?" I was like, "Well, I understand the training." He's like, "But all your customers are saying that everything is great. Customer service is through the roof." And they're like, what are you doing differently? He's like, how do you train your people to be so nice and so giving and caring and stuff? So I don't train them. I don't train people how to be nice. I just hire nice people.
That's what Southwest does. Yeah, I think about that with Southwest, and I think about that with Chick-fil-A. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How do they do that? Regardless of what airplane I get on with Southwest, or what Chick-fil-A restaurant I go into, every single time it is a pleasant experience, and it's because of exactly what you just said.
100%. And whenever people are outside of that mold, they don't last there, either because it's just too much of a cultural clash and they just can't handle it, or they're like, no, you're not fitting our mold. Like, you have to find work somewhere else.
You got to find your next opportunity. I think the next one she talked about was giving everyone on your team one number to focus on. So we use EOS, which stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System at Sweetfish.
Okay.
And it's based on a book by Gino Wickham called Traction.
Did you get with Apple about that, Brian?
Never even made that tie before. But so EOS, operating system we use, and they're big on this. So they're big on every single person actually owning a number. So every person across your organization should at least own one number. And that, so I'm obviously a big advocate for this because we've been doing EOS for a few years now. So when
do you have any examples? Because that's pretty interesting. Who makes the numbers? How are the numbers validated? Who makes
leadership team?
Okay, so when you say one number, are there subsets of numbers to get to that one number?
Yeah, so we have a company scorecard that we look at every week. Scorecards. And nice. And so we're looking at things like how many new deals did we close. We're looking at what are some other things. We're looking at churn, how much revenue churned in the last week. So we look at that scorecard. I think there's 11 or 12 items on our scorecard. Mm-hmm. We look at that every week, and then every department has a scorecard. So when you say everybody on the team has a number, their number is going to roll up into their departmental scorecard more than likely. And so, and we've got a 20-person team. So it might not scale. Obviously, if you've got, a 40-person department, you're not going to have a 40, you're not going to have necessarily a scorecard that you're looking at every week that's got 40 things on it. But every person still should have some number that they're responsible for, even if it's a contributor to an item on the scorecard.
So what's your number?
So my number is ultimately profit. And so, and
that's a good number.
And it's not even really my number. It's really Jeremy's number. So Jeremy's held accountable for year-over-year growth percentage and profit percentage.
Okay. So even if it's one person, one number, it's more like one team, one number, right? And
it depends. Sometimes it's one person. I think every person should at least have one number.
How do you incorporate the heartbeat into that number so it's not just number?
I don't know.
Like company culture, like how do you? It's like, hey, you got to make profit, but you still got culture.
Yeah, I think we've had culture metrics in the past. I'm trying to think of what they would have been. Number of culture events that we hosted for the team.
All right. So you the heart behind the number. You have to focus on profit, right? But you also have to care about the people who are helping you profit.
Totally.
In order to get there, right? So how does that work for you?
I don't know that necessarily. I mean, it's the activities that lead to that heart that could wind up on the scorecard if it reaches a level of importance where it needs to be there on a scorecard that you're evaluating every week. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'd have to put more thought into how you can communicate more of that. I think the heart stuff happens more in like one-on-one conversations, right. Maybe even in all hands, where the scorecard is really intended to be like brass tacks. This is what helps keep us accountable. This is what helps keep us focused. And obviously, if all we're talking about in all of our conversations across the team are just numbers, then you're going to lose that heart and you're going to have people disconnected from it. But I think so many companies just don't have any sort of scorecard. And so their people don't know what winning even looks like.
Yes. Yeah, we're creating our scorecard for our brokerage, and it's very much that. So, okay, let's focus on one number, achieve that, high five, pick another number. That no hurry, no pause, just like in Tim Ferriss's thing, is the same thing with this, because we're starting, we're new. So our numbers have to be realistic.
Yep.
But once it grows, the scorecards are really good. I'm gonna keep that in the back pocket because I think that's gonna be very helpful.
EOS, man. EOS is really good for companies. I think they say between 2 and 100 million in revenue. And so when we were sub 2 million in revenue,
That's my first number.
yeah, when we were sub 2 million in revenue, so many things, in the stage you're in, so many things are changing, and you've got to be so flexible,
Right.
Because you're just trying to survive and make it another day. But once you hit that $2 million revenue number, I think that seems to be kind of the sweet spot for when you incorporate an operating system like this. So the third thing she mentioned, Frank, was this is one page. No, it's this one page culture that she talks about that Amazon does. And when I first heard her talk about this, I think the graphic they put on the screen wasn't actually what this means, because I was what she was talking about.
She was talking too fast.
She was talking. Her editor was like, she's talking about. That was something like that. But so I was Googling around. I was like, Amazon one page culture, and it's actually really cool. I found an article with this graphic from Gustavo Rossetti.
Swoosh to the graphic
from I don't know what site it was, but it's a template that he uses to get. I'm assuming it's based on what Amazon has done, but there are 10 different elements of this one-page design that document different elements of your culture. And so when you have it on one piece of paper, I would imagine they use this like with employee onboarding, and when you're getting people onboarded into your organization, just in one single page. This is what we're all about. So on this doc, we've got, what do we have here? We've got your purpose, your values, your cultural priorities. Ooh. So this one was interesting because they use even if statements. So
give me an example.
So what do they have on here?
Even if I'm super successful, I'll still be a nice guy.
These are too blurry. I can't.
Even if I talk too fast, you'll put up the right slides.
Man, I don't have any examples on here because the image that came in was too small. But I think it's the things that are unique to that culture. So we are we share, or we are honest with one another, even if it hurts your feelings, because we prioritize honesty over hurt feelings. So that would be an example of it, but I really like that. So cultural priorities, behaviors. So documenting specifically what we punish and what we reward.
There it is.
Psychological safety. How do we encourage everyone to speak up? How do we promote participation and candor? Feedback. How you do feedback? What are different rituals that you do? How do you make decisions?
Did you just say candor?
Candor.
This is divergent, bro. You will have that in your design.
I'm just going off of what this article said. So I do love the book Radical.
I haven't heard that in forever.
Radical Candor, man.
I think it's nice.
Scott. It's a great book. But decision-making, meetings, norms and rules. So getting your culture onto one page. I'd never actually heard about this before. So
it's interesting.
As part of EOS, we have what's called a Vision Traction Organizer. They call it a VTO, but it's like a one-page snapshot of the business. So it's got your mission, your purpose, your core values, your 10-year target, your 3-year picture, your 1-year goals, and then it's got your quarterly goals on there as well.
I love that.
So that's, but that's a little bit different than this. I really like this kind of one-page culture. I mentioned this to Jeremy. I was like, man, we need to do this for Sweetfish.
Have you ever heard of the lean business model?
I've heard of what's that? Is it called Lean by Eric Ries?
Let us know in the comments below.
I think it's based on that. What's Eric Ries's book?
No, but lean business model is exactly that. Whenever you're building a business from zero, you have this one page and you just fill it out.
It's like lean startup.
The lean startup. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Very similar. It's essentially like, what is your business's vision, mission, value prop? What do you do differently? Who are your customers? What are your revenue streams? What are your costs? Things like that. But there's value in subtracting from, right? Tim Ferriss yet again.
Yep.
coming in with 17 words. Like before, I like words. I like being able to elaborate on what I'm talking about. Well, you lose people, you know, including yourself. Can you go back to it? It's like, oh, I have to read all this to know what I was doing. Like, you just condense it into, you know, minimum viable product and a nice streamlined business flow. I love the culture design canvas, particularly because I don't know how to build culture. I just fill in the blanks here. You know, it's like, all right, I got the purples filled out. Let me get the greens. You guys, check it out. Gustavo Rossetti. He's got it going on.
Yeah, so I think if you just Google culture design canvas, you'll be able to find this template. I don't know if Gustavo just did the graphic or if he wrote the article too.
You know what? But screw Gustavo, little chat GPT, write in culture design canvas, fill it out for me with A, B, and C focus and design. So see what pops up.
All right, so Codie Sanchez, she's over there running 26 companies like a boss, talking
female hero.
Female hero.
I want to meet her. I want to shake her hand and see like if my hand hurts after. Yeah, or how hard. You know,
she shakes hands as fast as she talks.
I kind of want to go and like have an ice staring contest with her because I haven't lost in a long time, and I think she might be able to beat me. Need some competition, Codie. What do you got?
I love it. Codie, if you're watching this, we love you.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, very much. Very hats off to you.
We are out.